Imagine this. When you speak the truth about your darkest chapters, your story becomes the light someone else has been praying for. Every episode is a declaration of survival. Together, we tear down silence, crush stigma, and amplify voices that refuse to be forgotten. Thank you for being with us today. Your presence truly makes this moment meaningful. I'm Jennifer Lee, founder of The Healing and Sharing, host of the I Need Blue podcast, author, keynote speaker, and a survivor who turned pain into purpose. God called me to use my story and share my voice to create this special space just for you. To learn more, visit ineedblue.net. I must share a trigger warning. This podcast includes discussions of trauma, violence, and sensitive experiences meant to empower and support. Please prioritize your well-being and remember there is strength in asking for help. A heartfelt thank you to my beautiful friend Melissa Turi for creating the opening melody. To hear the full-length song, stay tuned till the end of the episode. And to learn more about her incredible journey, visit melissaturimusic.com. Her information can also be found on ineedblue.net. Now let's begin today's story. Her story touched me, a friend shared. I reflected in this moment and it reminded me how often we skim the surface with people. Just a quick, yes, I deal with this or that, and never reach the real journey underneath. But when those sometimes moments finally turn into now, that's when healing and connection truly begin. Today, I'm honored to introduce my friend and special guest Sondee. Through her work with WeVenture as a business coach, she has poured her passion and wisdom into helping women like me grow and believe in ourselves. She's been a steady support in my life and a part of the I Need Blue and the Healing and Sharing journey. In February 2022, Sondee's life changed. Ordinary sounds, the hum of an air conditioner, the pulse of music outside a concert became unbearable, even triggering panic attacks. Vertigo, migraines, and hypersensitivity left her bedridden. Doctors dismissed her pain, and after 1.5 years of suffering, it seemed this would be her forever. But Sondee didn't quit. She became her own advocate, diving into research until one doctor uncovered the truth. Her body was at war with itself. Even the foods she thought were safe were triggering inflammation that attacked her brain and senses. She was living with hyperacusis, a rare condition that makes everyday sounds feel unbearable, affecting only 1 in 50,000 people. We will discuss what happened in 2023 that began Sondee's healing journey. Her story is one you'll never forget. Sondee, thank you for being my guest today, and welcome to the I Need Blue podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. I have to tell you, I was sitting outside with my husband at about 8 a.m. Today, it's Saturday, having our coffee. And he was like, do you hear that humming noise? And I remember thinking to myself, knowing that I was going to be interviewing you today, like, wow, what was it like to even just sit outside for Sondee when she was going through this excruciating experience? As we get started, can you take me into what that was like? Something as simple as just sitting outside trying to enjoy the day?
Yeah, there are Low frequency sounds really disrupt my nervous system more so than any other sound. And it doesn't have to be loud. So sitting outside and then maybe your neighbor's noisy pool pump comes on, or maybe there's an AC unit close to where you're sitting. Those noises can disrupt my nervous system, even though the sound isn't that loud. And I notice these hums, and I'll say something to somebody that I'm with. I'm like, "Do you hear that? Where's that coming from?" And they're like, "Hear what?" And then I'm like, "Listen." And then they're like, "Oh, I didn't even notice." So most people don't notice these low frequency humming sounds because it's just part of life. But when you're sensitive to sound, you hear everything. Sound can be exhausting because it really does aggravate your nervous system.
Yes, but you have experienced this on a totally different level, and it really kind of all peaked in 2022.
I had been experiencing some sound sensitivity leading up to it, but I didn't realize really what was going on. And then it all made sense to me. In 2022, I had gone to a concert with my brother, and concert was fine, had a great time, got into the car to go home, and everything started spinning. Vertigo, like really bad. I woke up the next day with the worst migraine of my life. Probably should have gone to the hospital, but I didn't. I was throwing up all day. It's not from alcohol. It was from the sound. That's when my situation got worse, where I was extremely sensitive to sound. It wasn't just a little bit. So that's when the air conditioning started bothering me, when it would turn on and off even. Like even the slightest sounds at a certain frequency would bother me a lot. I couldn't do dishes. I couldn't go to restaurants anymore. My life changed.
Was it a slow progression where you all of a sudden realized you can't handle a lot of sounds? Or was it from the moment that concert happened, all of a sudden it was like that migraine hit and then everything just went drastically downhill from there?
Well, back in 2019, I was playing soccer and I had fallen and hit my head and then realized that I was a little dizzy. So I stopped playing and came home. And on the way home, I felt nauseous and realized, oh, great, I got another concussion. I've had over 10 concussions in my life because of just being so active and playing sports and stuff. I did notice after that concussion that I was more sensitive to sound, but it wasn't debilitating. I
Mhm.
could still work, I still functioned, I still went out, but I noticed that I was more sensitive. And then when that concert happened and then the horrible migraine in 2022, that's when, yeah, it was pretty instant. After that migraine, I was never the same. I only had so much energy.
Yeah, and you're a mom, you're the breadwinner of the family, and now all of a sudden you're finding yourself in unknown territory.
Yes.
So aside from the physical ailment then, you have the emotional, the mental, from being this independent person now all of a sudden having to rely on others to help you, help your daughter. And how do you take on and deal with now that emotional stress? Not to mention stress is bad for the body to begin with.
You don't really realize what it's like to go through something like this until you actually do. I was kind of in denial because I was literally disabled and I couldn't wrap my brain around that fact. Like I didn't want to believe it. So I kind of was in denial about it. And I just thought I'll get better. I'm not feeling well right now, but in a week or two, I'll be back to normal. I'll be fine. And it just got worse. It didn't get better. I finally came to terms with the fact that, wow, I'm disabled now. Like I can't work like I could before. I couldn't even put things away. I had no energy. I was so fatigued. My bedroom was so messy that I barely had room. And this is hard to admit, but I barely had room on my bed to sleep. It was just covered in stuff all over my dress. Like my room is a disaster. It was a slow progression to the where it got to where I could barely sleep on my bed. And when I finally opened my eyes and was like, oh my God, this is not me. because I was so organized. I mean, I even have a label maker. Like I label everything, like I'm that organized. And then to see my room like a tornado hit it was like, wow, something is really wrong here. And so, being a single mom, I didn't really have anybody in my life saying, you're not good. You need help. Like, what's going on? There was nobody saying that to me. My daughter, she was young. She was like 13. And so she just wanted to know when I was going to start working again because we couldn't do anything extra because
Right.
I didn't have any money. I was living off of savings at some point and then credit cards. I even thought about selling my house at one point. I couldn't work, working like maybe 10 hours a week. And that's all I had the energy for. And part of that time was from my bed. I was able to venture out every now and then I'd have to go home and rest.
Oh my goodness. Did it get to a point where when you finally realized, oh, there's something not right, did you reach out to others? Did you reach out to friends for support?
Not really. I should have, thinking back, I should have reached out to some of my close friends and really let them know what was going on. But, I'm the kind of person that, I like to communicate with my friends and when I'm happy and when I'm not feeling well or depressed, I just want to go into my cave and wallow, I guess you could say. Not that I was wallowing, but I don't I want to be the positive energy in someone's life. I don't want to be the needy negative energy, which you can't look at life that way. Your friends want to be there for you when you're down. And no, I don't think they really knew the extent to my illness and my situation. But they knew something was wrong. I couldn't go out anymore. But I don't think they knew the extent because I didn't really share.
I'm
Mhm.
assuming now, a few years later, they understand what's going on and they probably were like, Sunday, we would have helped you if you would have just told us.
They definitely would have. But a lot of us deal with that in our personalities. We don't like to ask for help. We like to be the helper. That was always my persona. I'm the helper. I'm the giver. I'm not the receiver and the needy one, but you learn that it's sometimes in life you have to reach out to your support system and get the help you need and the support. Yeah.
And being that helper is what makes you such a great business coach, is you like, and I know firsthand, to pour yourself into others, and watch them grow. And I'm the one on the other side saying, Sunday, I need help.
Yes. And I love helping.
Yes. So moving along in your journey, you started to do your own research as you were getting frustrated. You're like, there's something not right. I don't want this to be my forever.
Yeah, it was very scary. So not only was I physically, weak and debilitated and I wasn't myself, I was mentally not myself either. My personality changed. And then the emotion on top of it was really a lot to adjust to. I was just so scared. I was scared that my illness was going to get worse. I was on Facebook groups with other people with hyperacusis, with the sound sensitivity, and their symptoms were even worse than mine. And some couldn't even leave the house. Some couldn't even use utensils. They had to use plastic and paper in the kitchen because the noise that the plates and the silverware made was too excruciating for them. That sensitive. And I was worried that I was going to become even more sensitive and even more debilitated. So I had that fear. And then I had the fear of who's going to take care of me. My mother was elderly. My daughter was still in middle school.
Yeah.
So it was really scary. And I had to figure out how to come out of this. And so I did a ton of research. I went to all the doctors, my general doctor. I went to an ear, nose, throat doctor. I went to a neurologist. I got the MRI, did all the things trying to figure out what's wrong with me and how do I heal. And no doctor could help. I wanted to figure out what was causing this so I could go to the root cause and fix it. I did a lot of research on the brain because I knew it was a brain thing. I came across these functional doctors online, Dr. Gundry and Dr. Hyman, both had different takes on things, but similar. And, they talked about toxins filling up your bucket. And when your bucket gets full of all these toxins, then your immune system starts attacking itself. So that's when I realized, oh, maybe this is an immune problem, an autoimmune issue. They taught me that first you have to heal your gut. And so I started changing my diet, taking lectins out of my diet. I took things to heal the gut and found a little bit of relief, but, still with issues. And because these functional doctors were just making sense to me, I sought out a local functional doctor here in Melbourne, and he is the one that helped me. It was as simple as taking a food sensitivity test and taking some foods out of my diet that I got better. Within 3 days. It was crazy. Within 3 days, I started feeling better just by taking some foods out of my diet.
Wow.
Yeah. So for a couple years, I was suffering, and I had gained so much weight too during this time. I didn't talk about that. I gained like 20 pounds, which is a lot for me because I have a small frame. But I gained so much weight from eating carbs and sugar, just trying to get energy. And so that's how the weight came on. The gluten that I was eating was really hurting me. The two things on the top of my list were gluten and egg whites, which I was eating every day. And then the second tier of foods I'm sensitive to were spinach, almonds, Brazil nuts, blue cheese, things that I was eating that I thought it was healthy. I was putting spinach in my smoothies, almonds in my smoothies, or almonds as a snack, the healthy snack, healthy food, but apparently it's not healthy for everybody.
Wow. When you got your list of foods you were not supposed to eat, you stopped all of them. And then within 3 days, what was the physical differences that you felt in 3 days?
My brain was sharper. The brain fog, started going away, and I was able to
Wow.
think more clearly. And if you've been through perimenopause, you know what brain fog feels like. And I had more energy even. I felt less
Wow.
fatigued, more energetic in just 3 days.
That's great. Well, I mean, you don't need any more motivation than that to keep going, right?
Nothing tastes as good as healthy feels, no. And so staying on this diet was very easy for me because I was feeling so much better. And I stayed on it for 3 months. The 20 pounds came off in 3 months. Yeah, which was too fast, but I wasn't dieting per se. I was eating as much as I wanted. I just couldn't eat these certain foods. But I lost weight too much. I didn't look good because, when you lose weight that fast, it's not pretty.
It's drastic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's drastic, especially at my age, because then your skin just sags. So that really, really helped me. It wasn't just the change in diet, but also the supplements that the functional medicine doctor put me on as well, which helped a lot because you'd be surprised at what just a deficiency in, for example, iodine can do to your body. If you have an iodine deficiency, it can affect your thyroid. Just testing he took like 22 vials of blood from me about what I was deficient in. And so added those into my diet as well. So it was the removal of the foods and the addition of the vitamins and minerals and nutrients that I was lacking. Those together, I think, is what helped me feel better in just a few days.
Would you recommend a functional doctor or this doctor, even if you didn't have some sort of major issue like you have? It sounds like that that might be a good place for people to go as well if they have something they're trying to figure out.
A lot of people I'm seeing more and more have these illnesses, and the doctors can't figure out what's wrong or how to help. And for anybody in that situation, I strongly recommend a functional doctor because they are trained to look at the whole person holistically. They're not just a cardiologist or not just a neurologist they don't look at the one part of your body. They look at your body as a whole. They work very hard to find the root cause of what's causing your symptoms, and they're much less likely to give you a prescription to mask the symptoms or to manage your sickness, because the body can heal itself if it's balanced. And most people with an illness, their bodies are out of balance for some reason. And a lot of times it's some environmental, external situation, or maybe you're just lacking certain nutrients.
And in your research, you found inflammation is huge and wreaking havoc on our bodies.
I believe that's what causes most illnesses is inflammation. And so figuring out what's causing the inflammation is really key. And for me, a big part of it was what I was eating, the
Mhm.
gluten and the egg whites. I know that gluten is a very common intolerance or sensitivity for people. My functional doctor told me that nobody should be eating gluten, even if you're not, quote unquote, sensitive to it, because of what it does to your body. It's not healthy, apparently, for anyone to be eating.
What was the hardest food for you to stop eating?
This is kind of embarrassing, but I'm going to be honest. Oreos.
Oh, I love Oreos.
Or like chocolate chip cookies.
Mm.
I would eat Oreos or chocolate chip cookies every day. Not a lot. I would only eat like 2 or 3, but that was one of my pleasures, when I had that sugar craving. Yeah, I would reach for cookies and potato chips. I love to snack on something crunchy.
Today, if you were to eat a potato chip or a few Oreos, what would it do to your body?
If I do eat something with gluten in it, like an Oreo, it's not going to bother me. But because I don't have celiacs, believe it's called celiac, where they can't have any gluten or they will immediately have symptoms. I'm not that sensitive. That's why people don't realize, like, I've been eating gluten my whole life. It's like, why can't I eat it now? But,
Mm.
our bodies change. And it's not something that I eat and then I have a symptom. It's something that if I eat it over time, that's what these food intolerances are. I can eat these foods, but if I eat them every day for a week, maybe a week later or 2 weeks later, that's when I'm going to have the symptom. And that's why it's hard to tell, like, what's causing your symptoms, because it's something you've always eaten. You just now have developed a sensitivity to it, especially for women when you hit perimenopause,
Mhm.
your body changes so much.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Yeah, well, if you notice anything, you might want to get a food sensitivity test. See what
Yeah,
foods you really shouldn't be eating. Yeah.
I've put on my seatbelt and I'm holding on for the ride.
I'm here for you if you need somebody or to bounce symptoms off of. I can give you some good pointers
Right. Thank you
in
so
there.
much.
Yeah.
So, looking back now over this whole journey, what do you think has been your greatest lesson? And what are words that you would share with somebody else?
Wow, I definitely have learned a lot. I'm, in a way, kind of glad. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but that I went through this sickness, that this actually happened to me, because before I got sick, I was the single mom doing it all. Um, busy, 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 doing the shopping, the cleaning, the cooking, the taking to activities, and it was just a go, go, go life. The sickness slowed me down and it gave me time alone with myself to get to know myself more, to reflect on my life and where I was in my life. And it was really good for me. I grew a lot emotionally, mentally, spiritually, definitely brought me closer to God. It taught me to, don't keep things in. When you are going through a hard time, you really should confide in your friends and reach out and let them know what you're going through and give them the opportunity to be the friend that they want to be. Like, if one of my friends went through this and they didn't tell me and then I found out later, I would be so mad. I would be like, "What? Why didn't you tell me? I could have helped." And then I would have felt horrible that I wasn't able to help. And so very selfish of me not to tell anybody really the extent of how debilitated I had become. As we age, and especially for women, it's also for men too, but women go through the menopausal phase. And as we age, people just think that being more tired, maybe not looking as good, having less energy, having the brain fog, losing a bit of your memory. A lot of people think this is just normal part of growing old, right? I
Mhm.
thought it was. I'm like, okay, everyone thinks the weight gain, the puffiness in the eyes, we just think that that is part of growing old. And it honestly is not. It's just our bodies can't filter out all the toxins anymore. We don't realize that it's not just the food we're eating, it's the air we're breathing, it's the water we're drinking, there's toxins everywhere. And if anyone is feeling more tired, more brain foggy, seek out a functional doctor to have your blood tested. Oh, and sleep. I had no idea how important sleep was. Our bodies rejuvenate while we're sleeping. So we need good sleep to heal. And if we're not getting a good 7 to 8 hours a night, then our bodies aren't able to heal what we just went through that day. So sleep is so important. I think it's becoming the catalyst to a lot of people having health issues because they're not getting 7 to 8 hours a night.
Right.
Or they're drinking alcohol before they go to sleep, and that's preventing you from getting a good night's sleep.
Mhm.
Alcohol has become the norm to have a drink every night, and it's really not good for you, mainly because, well, two reasons. It's not good for your liver, which is filtering out all of these toxins that we deal with every day, but it really is a sleep disruptor. And get a good 30 minutes of walking in, maybe 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night, and you'd be amazed at how much better you would feel. We don't have to get tired and get puffy as we get older. We don't have to. It's not that you're getting older, it's just your body can't filter anymore. So you got to make some lifestyle changes.
Well, everything you shared is it's amazing, and it's great for you for physically, mentally, emotionally, and psychologically. Everything you just shared, it all comes together.
And your body will thank you for it. If anybody wants more information of my journey, what I did, and who I sought for help, like chiropractic also is very important. Finding a good chiropractor really helped me as well. You'd be surprised at what aligning the spine and the vagus nerve, like all of that, how it affects all your organs. Yeah, just reach out to me and I'd be happy to answer any questions and help you in your journey of being healthier and happier.
Sunday, we'll have your contact information in the show notes as well, so it'll easily be available for somebody if they want to reach out to you, and maybe we'll include the name of your functional doctor as well.
Okay.
Sunday, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been wonderful. And thank you for allowing me to share my story to hopefully help others.
Of course, anytime. And thank you for listening. This is Jen with the I Need Blue podcast. If you want to learn anything and everything about I Need Blue, visit my website, ineedblue.net. And remember, you are stronger than you think.
Some days are better than others. Wake up and you put one foot in front of the other. Same routine, same places. You just keep on pushing through it. The life you led before, putting everything on the line. Not sure if you would make it home, leaving it all up in God's hands. Just happy to see the sunrise again. Baby, lay those worries on my shoulders. It will always be okay. You have me to hold. Listen to the silence in the dark. Let it guide your way. Hear my beating heart when you're wandering, lost and afraid. You got my hand, so take hold and lean into me as I lean into you. I'll pick you up, take the pain away, mend all the seams to your scars. I'll heal you from your own thoughts. Dance in my arms, close those eyes. Imagine nothing but the soft light, stars and the moon, releasing everything. Let me be your armor shield and you, keeping you safe. I'll keep you safe from all the harm. I'll heal you from the war, the thoughts that keep you up